Karlheinz, Karlheinz, also known as Togo Sakamaki, Sakamaki Togo, and Reinhard, Reinharuto, is the husband of Cordelia, Beatrix, and Christa, the older brother of Richter and the father of all 6 of the Sakamaki brothers. Karl is also the current vampire king, leader of all the vampires. In Japan, he is a famous politician who's known as a prominent philanthropist, and at Ryutai Academy, he is a school doctor, using a different appearance. Contents: appearance, personality, history, relationships, Cordelia, Beatrix, Christa, G. Aspect, the ancestor king, Bure Reiji Sakamaki, abilities, time manipulation, shape-shifting, references, navigation, honest game, trailers, Valheim, appearance. According to Reiji Sakamaki, Karl is over 2,000 years old. 1. Karl in his Reinhardt disguise. In More Blood, he is portrayed with pale skin, long white hair and gold eyes. In his Reinhardt disguise, his hair is blonde and he wears glasses. Personality: Karlheinz is one of the most powerful creatures in the demon world, viewed by the Bat clan, the vampires, as a god. He holds an enormous amount of magical power and knowledge, and he never stops pursuing more. Karlheinz is extremely intelligent but also very manipulative, and even though he possesses great physical and magical powers, rarely dirties his hands on his own, usually manipulating the others to do his bidding. Karlheinz is incapable of affectionate feelings and doesn't understand love at all, even for the frames of his demonic subspecies. He thinks that just like him, the others from the demon kind cannot feel true love either, and therefore starts to admire and glorify the human way of feelings even if he is incapable to feel them himself. Karlheinz views his wives as test subjects for his experiments in creating a new race, and also his sons from them too. He uses everything to his advantage and views his family solely as tools for his utopia goal of a new race that he wants to replace the current demons with, in the demon world, believing this is the only way for that world to be saved. Being extremely intelligent and powerful and lacking deep feelings of affection towards anyone, he has no remorse at all while using his family and hurting them. At the same time, he can feel confused and can show hesitations if his experiments begin to fail. Still, he will be merciless and will dispose of any failed experiment by himself, even if they're his own sons. Karlheinz also appears to be charming and great at manipulating women, promising them everything until he obtains them, as he does to Cordelia in wanting to use her as the last remaining First Blood woman. He courts her from a very early age and hides her true heritage from her, even though her existence was part of his plans. He gives her false love and spoils her until she becomes his, and then starts to mentally abuse her and push her to her limits in order for his experiments of crossbreeding, and then later wanting to use her heart in a human vessel. To push her to give him children faster, he takes a second wife, Beatrix, to force a competition on her, and later marries Christa, Karlheinz's cousin, that he was viewing as a direct sister in order to create an incest-born child for the sake of his experiment. Karlheinz is very strict and cruel to his sons, and even though he is neglecting them completely through their childhoods, he can order for their punishments if they do something that displeases him. This includes imprisoning Leto Sakamaki, sending Shu Sakamaki to the North Pole for repeating a year in high school, or tossing Subaru in the middle of the ocean for breaking a statue. Therefore, and mostly because of the neglect and emotional abuse Karl dealt to their mothers, most of the Sakamaki hate him deeply. Karlheinz can show more concern for people who aren't his own sons, like the Mukamais who he saved in order to make them serve him willingly for his experiment. Karlheinz becomes more and more fascinated and obsessed with the humans during the years, while punishing his own kind for their own nature, even though he realizes they are that way because they have his genes. As Togo Sakamaki and Reinhardt, he appears as a friendly, open-minded, and ambitious man. A deeper look into his mindset can be seen when considering his place of residence, Eden Castle, his castle in the demon world. History: while the entirety of his past is left largely unknown, he was indirectly the cause of a millennia-long war between the various demon clans known as the Millennial War of Demons and the Kings. Long ago, the two kings, Giesbach the Ancestor King, First Blood Clan, and Karlheinz the Vampire King, Bat Clan, had a sort of friendship relationship and often visited their castles within in the world of demons. Diabolik always saw Karlheinz as someone under him due to the vampires being one of the sub-race developed by the ancestor race. But after Karlheinz began to show a much greater potential than that of Diabolik, and also because of a woman who attracted the attention of both men. This sparked an intense rivalry with each other. Diabolik grew envious of someone who he saw as beneath him, and soon it escalated into an all-out war between the various races of the demon's world. Karlheinz, however, had many more allies, such Beret the Vibora King, Snake Clan. While the ancestor race was most powerful, when it came to the numbers, they were seriously outclassed. Later down the line, Diabolik started to fear the growing power of his oldest son Karla, and the fact that the people of his kingdom and of the demon world loved and adored his son more than him, which led to him deciding that he must get rid of Karla along with Karlheinz. He chose to send his troops against the vampires and Viboris on the lands of the demonic world, where the war was at a standstill, but it was led by Karla instead of him. He had hoped that Karla and Karlheinz would kill each other. Krona the Diabolika's wife, is impatient for daring to argue in front of Diabolik. She plans a coup against him and hopes to prevent the war against vampires and Viboris. However, the ancestor race was struck with the disease known as Endzeit, the End virus, which was spreading across the First Blood clan. In Dark Fate route, it is said that when Mini, Krona's sister, went to seek a cure for the Endzeit disease from Karlheinz, who is famous across the entirety of the demon world for his vast knowledge, would have the highest chance of finding a cure for the Endzeit virus, Karlheinz started to research the genomes and origins of the disease that made the First Blood ancestor of all the clans of demon races extinct. Karlheinz predicted that the disease would spread amongst the entire human race, so he searched for a way to stop it. This resulted in the decision to curate a new race, one that was more enduring. But before that, he would send Mini to Beret to give birth to Cordelia, who took the mother's race First Blood, which Karlheinz hopes to use as the new Eve, being Cordelia born immune from Endzeit. The attempt failed with Cordelia. Diabolik is killed due to his wife's plan, but managed to infect Karla mortal Endzeit. Karlheinz, along with Beret, seals the Antinate castle with the few race member remaining, all by the spell, and then manipulates the minds of most demons around the world of demons to make forget about the existence of the ancestor race. Gottfried the Wolves King, Wolf Clan, and the Adler King, Eagle Clan, at the end of the war with their kingdoms and people, took the winner's side and finished the war. According to Cordelia, Karlheinz would like to die, but no one is strong enough to kill him. He wants one of his sons to obtain the sacrificial bride and gain the power to kill him. That's why he started the Adam and Eve project in More Blood. Cordelia would like to fulfill his wish to die too. Ayato once says that Karl was only pleased with Krista, much to Subaru's agitation. In Dark Fate, it is revealed that Karlheinz imprisoned most of the First Blood vampires with the help of the Demon King, Beret. It's also noted that Karlheinz was friends with Socrates, according to Beatrix. In Dark Fate, the Mukamai prologue, he is shown playing chess with Socrates as they discuss the Adam and Eve project. Karlheinz courted Cordelia and tried to sweep her off her feet ever since she was young. He planned to use her for a crossbreeding genetic experiment for creation of the new race. Thus, he manipulated her to gain her trust and love. And because Cordelia lacked the knowledge of parental affection, because she was illegitimate of the demon lord and a dead mistress, Karl was able to teach her the false meanings of love. He taught her that it was all right to have many lovers and that it was all right to have an incest relationship. He taught her to be cruel in love games as a part of true love. Wanting to press Cordelia to give him children faster and also wanting to explore other experimentation with his own kind, Karl took a second wife, Beatrix. Failing to become the Adam, Karl indirectly blamed Cordelia, for being incapable to unlock in him deeper feelings and for loving him too demon-like. As he was incapable of feeling love, Karlheinz decided that the demon race couldn't love in general. He began to think that there was no point in saving the demon race and wished to end it to create a new species. After all his vampire sons were born, he began plotting ways to use them as Adam, and he began plotting Cordelia's demise in order to use her heart. It is also revealed that he was working in conjecture with Richter to gain her heart. Wanting to provide more option for his experimentation, he decided to have a child born out of incest. He deceived his Christa, Karlheinz's cousin, into thinking that he loved only her and was merely using the other two women. Christa, having thought that Karlheinz truly loved her as a woman, willingly agreed to marry Karlheinz and allowed him to have relations with her. When Christa found out about his experiments, the strong feelings of hate and love, even if he was her cousin, caused her to tear apart and turned her insane. As revealed by Karlheinz, everything he did towards his wives was on purpose. He made their lives miserable in order for them to break their own sons. This is because it was inadequate for the experiment to hinge solely on genetics, and therefore the next stage was to make his wives break their own sons in order for his sons not to make proper demonic bonds. This is all calculated so that they would one day learn human feelings through Eve. In this way, the sole reason Karlheinz had sons was for the benefit of the Adam and Eve project. Once Adam and Eve awoke, the last stage of the experiment would be enacted, the destruction of the demon kind, as revealed in almost all Dark Fate Sakamaki endings, and the creation of a new race, one that felt and thought like mortal humans, but could use magic and the supernatural like the demon race. Relationships. Cordelia stated that Karlheinz was the only man she truly loved and claimed that he was the only man who could fulfill her heart, soul, and body. In Dark Fate, Cordelia said that when he married her she was happy, because Karlheinz always acceded to her requests no matter how selfish may be, and was gentle and kind with her. However, in truth, Karlheinz had planned to marry Cordelia simply to make her his Eve for the creation of a new race. Despite this, Cordelia's personality was too much like her demon kind, and hence she failed to be Eve, which required the character of a mortal. As a result, Karlheinz started neglecting her, having given up on a failed experiment. According to Cordelia, he told her that he would visit but never came from one moon to the next. Despite the obvious and constant emotional abuse from Karlheinz, Cordelia refused to believe that Karlheinz didn't love her, even entering a physical fight with Christa on the subject. This delusion is shattered in Ayato's Dark Fate route when Carla Tsukinami tells her that Karlheinz could have resurrected her but didn't, causing her to break down in tears. In the first game, Leto said that his father never loved her because of his hatred. It is also revealed that both Richter and Karlheinz fought for her hand. Beatrix was the first to conceive Karl's eldest sons. Not much was said about his relationship with Beatrix, but because Karl was incapable of love, he did not love her. He only married Beatrix to push Cordelia to have children. Christa, as strongly implied in Subaru's Dark Fate route, Christa is actually Karlheinz's cousin. Christa was revealed to have believed that Karlheinz loved her and thus agreed to marry him. However, when she realized that she was used to produce a child born out of incest, the conflict between her love and hate for Karlheinz drove her insane. In Subaru's Dark Fate route, she is constantly seen calling for her Nii-sama during her psychotic episodes, and as a result needs Subaru to calm her down. When he grows up, she constantly mistakes Subaru for Karlheinz, which makes her either hate him or love him the way she does Karl. The ancestor King Karlheinz and Guy Spock were at first very good friends, but later down the line they became embittered rivals and eventually enemies, which lead to his death. He was trusted ally and aided in sealing and defeating the Vampire and First Blood clans, along with being Karlheinz's father-in-law. Reiji Sakamaki Reiji is the only one of his brothers who doesn't hate his father but rather respects him. Karlheinz has also given Reiji a pocket watch as a gift. Abilities. Karlheinz possesses all the racial abilities of a pure-born vampire, but at the highest degree. He also possesses the highest level of magical power and potential in the demon world. He has both the fear and respect of various demon kings throughout the demon world due to his knowledge and power. His power is considered by his race and his sons as godlike. It has even been implied that he can resurrect others from death. He is the creator of the eternal flowers, and also the one that created a new race of crossbreed between human and demons. Karlheinz's unleashed magic can destroy the demon world, setting it on fire and killing most of the inhabitants there. The only way to kill him is by cutting his head off or stabbing his heart. Time manipulation as proven in many Dark Fate routes. If Karl doesn't like an outcome, he can keep rewinding time until he gets the correct outcome. Shape-shifting Karl is seen to be able to shape-shift and change his appearance to any look he wants. According to Kanato Sakamaki, Karlheinz can be a man or a woman, any appearance is possible. Said by Ayato Sakamaki, Karlheinz appears in a different form sometimes, but they don't actually know what he really looks like. Kanji Ramaji Karlheinz, also known as Karl Tugo Sakamaki Reinhardt, age 2000 plus, status alive dead, lost eaten, race vampire, ethnicity demon, gender male, height unknown, varies, weight unknown, varies, hair color white, eye color golden, occupation vampire, king, politician, school doctor, relatives Richter, younger brother, Cordelia, first wife, Beatrix, second wife, Krista, third wife, cousin, Shu Sakamaki, son, Reiji Sakamaki, son, Ayato Sakamaki, son, Kanato Sakamaki, son, Leto Sakamaki, son, Subaru Sakamaki, son, Bure, father-in-law, Mini, mother-in-law, hobby science game, Diabolik lovers, haunted dark bridal, mentioned, Diabolik lovers more blood manga, Diabolik lovers more blood Mukamai sequel anime episode 4, TV footage, Japanese voice Masataka Sawada, more blood, Ryota Takuchi, Van Dead Carnival, Dark Fate, anime, English voice John Swayze.